What's up guys, it's Adam FPL and here. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today's videos are going to be a little bit shorter of a video where I'm briefly going to go over my points in Game Week 15, my future transfer thoughts and plans for the double game weeks and the blank games in 18 and 19, and for the future game weeks before that. And I'm going to go over a potential wildcard draft that I like for Game Week 16 wildcarders. And with the deadline being less than 32 hours away for the Game Week 16 deadline, it's a bit of a short turnaround, so we got to kind of focus already and move forward to the upcoming game week. And with that being said, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. So if we look at my page here on the FPL website, we see that I got 51 points this week, which was pretty good. It wasn't bad. This rank should change to about 570k, so I did go up about 75k in the end, or 55k, which is kind of nice. So not the biggest green arrow, but it is a green arrow nevertheless. So I'm happy with that. So if we move on here, we first have Martinez with 10 points. Another great point total for him. Esenwell kept that clean sheet, and Martinez is just doing great in this 4 game week since that blank. I'm happy I kept him. Since I don't have my wild card, I'll likely have to keep him for these tough fixtures coming up. As you see, he has Chelsea, Man United, and Tottenham, and Everton, which are 4 tough fixtures, but I don't see many clean sheets. Hopefully, there'll be a safe point and maybe the odd clean sheet, but we'll see with him. But great from him. Cancelo with 7 points. Looks to be a good hold by me, as Man City's fixtures, they don't have the double in 19, which is kind of what I'm going to build towards most likely. But Cancelo is just so attacking, and he kind of plays like the number 10 at times in most of their games. So I like what I see from Cancelo, and he's probably a hold for me. Justin, I had to play this week because I didn't want to play Wilson. He got me 1 point. Leicester did concede to United, which I kind of thought was the case, but luckily Bruno Fernandes did okay. Which, speaking of which, he did get 12 points here, and I'm kind of glad about that because Bruno is just such a consistent option. I was thinking about captaining him actually, but I kind of went with the crowd and went with Salah, as it did make the most sense on paper. But Bruno Fernandes against the open Leicester defense was not a bad option either. One of my 2 transfers in here, we have Kufal, who got 1 point. His wife had a baby a couple days before the game, so it was kind of nice to see him play, but surprisingly West Ham led in 2 goals to a poor Brighton side. It's kind of poor to get 1 point from him, but it is what it is, and he has a good double game week, so I'm happy to keep him. And then we have Robertson with 2 points. Surprise of the day here, they played today, and Liverpool West Brom, and Robertson did concede. Liverpool's defense did concede a goal, so which was kind of unfortunate for my clean sheet for Robertson. So my 2 transfers didn't really pan out this week, but in the longer run, I think that they'll pay off. And we have Salah captain, 4 points. He did blank against West Brom. That's the second blank that time he's blanked when I've captained him, and it's against Sheffield United and West Brom. So what a coincidence that he's kind of blanked against the 2 worst teams. But it is what it is, and we move on. And Grealish with 2 points. He's kind of an interesting player because he has these tough fixtures coming up, but he does perform well against the big teams, as we can see this season. He's performed well against the likes of Liverpool with this huge score, Southampton, Arsenal, and West Ham. So he kind of performs well against bigger teams. He scored at Old Trafford last year, and it's kind of interesting what I'm going to do with him because I have some value tied up into him, but it's kind of a tough thing to do. If I was on a wild card, I probably would sell him because the fixtures are tough and he doesn't have a double game week in 19, and I think that he's kind of regressed a little bit, but he's still a good option to have. We then have Son, who had 3 points. He banked that little clean sheet point a couple minutes before because he got subbed off, and then Tottenham conceded a late goal to Wolves. But I'm happy to keep Son. He has these great fixtures coming up, Fulham and Leeds. I'm happy to have a Spurs player there. And he also plays in Game Week 18, which is nice. And we have Calvert-Lewin with 1 point. He got a yellow card and blanked against Sheffield United, which is pretty unfortunate, but he can't score every week, and with Richarlison, Digne, and James out, he has had limited chances, which does impact his points definitely, but I'm hoping that he can still kind of tick along because he's not a huge priority for me to sell. And Bamford, this guy is just amazing value. He scored against Burnley today, and boy, it was crazy that he took the penalty, and it's just great value. He's going to keep rising in price now that he's on penalties. I think he said after the game that after Click missed that penalty against West Ham, even though he did score the redo, Bamford's going to take the penalties until he misses, and so it's kind of him and Click going for it. But Bamford's just amazing value, and he's a lock in virtually every team. So on the bench, we had nothing much this week, which is good. I didn't leave many points on the bench. Wilson didn't play. Peacock Farrell didn't play. Taylor conceded a goal to Leeds and got the 2 points, and Mendy did not play either. So that's good. In terms of my team for next week. We're setting up likely another 4-4-2, Big Sam style, as I like to call it. And I'm thinking of making no transfers. The team looks okay for next week. My only headache is kind of either starting Wilson or not, or Kufal for one of these defenders above. But I don't really see an opening for Kufal, as I like Cancelo. He's kind of been nailed on, and he's so attacking that I think that I can play him in almost any team, and if he's benched, then I have the sub to come on. Justin against Crystal Palace. Leicester have been better away, and Justin can always get an attack in return, and Crystal Palace have been very poor lately, so I like that. And Taylor, he has these two prime fixtures coming up for a Burnley clean sheet I'm hoping for, and he's a low-owned defender, so I hope that he can do well against Sheffield, and Robbo against Newcastle is a definite start. The rest, the midfield has been staying the same for the past few weeks. With Salah the captain currently, this could change as there's a couple of good options in the midfield here, but Newcastle have been pretty poor, and I back Salah to get back to his scoring form in this game. With Grealish against Chelsea, this is not the best fixture for him, and this is where the tough fixtures begin for Villa. But Grealish is not really a priority for me, and I've kind of got to build my team to those double game weeks. And I think that Grealish, although he's not the ideal player to have at the moment, he's got to be a keep for me at the moment. And Bruno, obvious to keep him. I could captain him against Wolves. Wolves have been poor. They haven't been very inspiring this season at all, and Bruno can basically do well against anyone, so he's an option in the midfield here for captaincy. And Son against Fulham. Son actually, this Fulham fixture is actually not the easiest in reality, because Scotty Parker has done a great job tightening up that Fulham defense, and with Anderson in the side, it brings a little more stability to Fulham. But I think that these next two fixtures for Spurs are prime Son and Kane fixtures where they can do very well. And Calvert-Lewin against City. I don't think this is a fixture where he'll do particularly well, but maybe he can nick something. But I do have Cancelo, so this is kind of a game of unfortunate events for me either way. If they concede, hopefully it's Calvert-Lewin that scores. We'll see. And then Bamford against West Brom, definite start for me. Bamford is just such good value. He's got a couple nice fixtures, although Spurs, and he's got that double game week, so it's a really good option to have. He's so highly owned now that he's not going to hugely boost me in rank, but it is what it is. And then we have Kufal against Southampton. Especially if Danny Ings is back, I back Southampton to score here, as West Ham have been a little suspect defensively in recent game weeks, but I'm happy to hold him for that double. And if he needs to come on for like a Cancelo who's going to get rested possibly, then he'll come on. And Wilson against Liverpool. Newcastle have been pretty toothless in attack lately, and although he is on penalties and they could get the odd penalty, I don't really back Newcastle doing much here. Or like the West Brom game, they didn't have a chance all game, but West Brom did get that lucky goal. I think it's kind of going to be a similar game there. And Mendy's always on that third bench slot. So in terms of transfers, I'm actually thinking of holding, like I said a couple minutes ago, and I'm thinking of walking into game week 17 with 2 free transfers and kind of getting more information and seeing which players I can get to build towards a possible bench boost or something like that and improve the team. But right now it's looking pretty stable, and there are some slight cracks in the team, like the likes of Calvert-Lewin and Grealish, that could be needing replacement. But at the moment, I think that I'm going to hold this week and get more information next week and kind of see how the likes of the Spurs assets look and Liverpool defense, and kind of see where I can go from there with my transfers. So with that being said, I kind of got a wildcard draft plan to show you guys for those game week 16 wildcarders, because I know that's a big topic of debate here at the moment. So I'm going to kind of show you guys what I think with that. So here's the potential wildcard I've put together for game week 16. So my team value is about 103, and I have 0.5 left in the bank with this draft, for those that are wondering. So in that, we first have McCarthy and Johnstone, 2 double game week playing goalkeepers. And my thinking behind these two is, obviously, I think that Johnstone is actually one of the best double game week goalkeepers that you can have, with West Ham and Wolves as his 2 fixtures. And I think that I see clean sheet potential in both of these fixtures. So as we can see, he has decent fixtures leading up to it, and the way Alvarez sets up, I think that he can nick a couple clean sheets here and there, and Johnstone gets the save points. So I think that Johnstone is a good option for the double game week. And I also think that even though McCarthy has horrible fixtures, Southampton have shown that they can defend decently well, and I think that McCarthy can get some save points especially, and maybe get the occasional clean sheet with these double game weeks. So I think that these are the 2 keepers I would go for. And in terms of the defense, we have pretty much a cheap defense. We have Taylor, Justin, Walker-Peters, Cancelo, and Kufal. So Taylor has 2 good fixtures with Fulham and Sheffield United in the next 2 weeks, and then he has a double game week. So this would be a nice. This is for the bench boost, by the way. This is a wild card for the bench boost, and we have Charlie Taylor, who's a 4.5 defender, who has West Ham and Liverpool, which is a tough game week, double game week in 19. But Burnley are quite a defensive team, and I like Taylor as a value pick. And Justin, I actually like Justin, even though a lot of people aren't going for him. And Leicester's defense have been quite suspect, and these 2 matches are both at home, where they are a little suspect defensively, more so than away, because they set up kind of more attacking at home, and they like to possess the ball a little more at home. But I think that Justin is just so attacking, and I think that he's becoming a great option, not only in the double game week, but in long term, as I don't think that Rodgers is going to drop him anytime soon. And now with Walker-Peters, so this is another kind of bad fixture. This would be a double up on the Southampton defense, but he's just so attacking. He's another defender with double game week fixtures. And Cancelo, I would definitely probably have Cancelo on my wild card, as after the double, he doesn't have a double game week, but after that 19, look at those fixtures. He has West Brom, Sheffield United, and Burnley, and Man City look like they're a more defensive team this year than an offensive team. And Kufal is one that I've gotten in recently in my own team. He has probably the best double game week out of any team with Burnley and West Brom, and there's immense clean sheet potential there, and especially maybe an attacking return, as Kufal is quite attacking. In the midfield, we have Souček and Rafinha, who are the enablers kind of for the 3 big premiums, and they both have double game weeks. Leeds and West Ham probably have the 2 best double game week schedules, and I think that these are quality players to invest in, with the likes of Souček always getting on headers. As you can see, he got a 10-pointer today against Brighton, and he has that occasional goal inside of him, and getting 2 games where he plays 90 minutes every game. I think there's good potential for kind of maybe a double-digit haul there. And Rafinha is another one. Leeds create so many chances, and he's behind them a lot of the time. He's on some set pieces, he's on some corners, and he takes so many shots, and I think that some of them are bound to go in eventually. And we have Salah, Fernandes, and Son. So Salah and Fernandes have the double game weeks, and these are probably mainstays in many of wildcarders' teams. And I probably think that you guys should do the same if you guys are wildcarding in this game week. And Son, he doesn't have the double game week, but Spurs have these 2 amazing fixtures, Fulham and Leeds. Then he plays in game week 18 for the non-free hitters, and then he has Sheffield United in game week 19. And a lot of the times when they're thinking about double game weeks, they don't really realize that sometimes single game week players can outscore the double game week players if it's a prime fixture like Sheffield United. So Son is a good option to have in there. And also, this should not be Calvert-Lewin, my apologies. This should be Shea Adams. So we have Adams, Bamford, and Vardy in the squad, and I think that this is a good option to have, as Adams has a double game week, as does Bamford and Vardy. So in total, you would only have Son, and you would only have Son that would not have the double game week. So this would be a great bench boost wild card. And Vardy he's kind of heating up. It's kind of his time of year, and he's got Southampton and Chelsea, 2 defenses that are kind of been on the poorer side lately in terms of conceding goals. And Vardy can always get his. And I think he's a good option to have over Kane, but of course you could put Kane here. And Bamford is probably one of the most popular players that are going to be on this people's wild cards and people's teams. He has a great double game week in game week 19. He may be on penalties now. Get Bamford in your guys' teams. And last but not least, Che Adams. I'm not sure about this pick, but I think that he can, especially if Ings is back. They're a lot better, Southampton as a whole, the team, and I think that Shea Adams can probably get something in 2 games at least. He's been getting a lot of assists this season. If we look at his history, he's been getting assists in a lot of these games. He has 5 assists, 4 goals, and for $6 million, I think he's decent value. Although he isn't on penalties, which is kind of not the most positive thing. But Southampton kind of have been showing that they're a good team this season. And I think that Shea Adams can nick some goals. He should have scored against Fulham had it not spun away from him. And I think that Shea Adams is kind of always in and around the goal, and he's always in those prime positions to get a goal. So I think that this is a good wildcard draft for you guys to have in Game Week 16 for those wildcarders. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this draft. Any suggestions you guys have about my team or this draft and how to make it better. And always subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button. And if you've made it this far, hope you guys enjoy the content. And I'll see you guys next game week on the other side of this short turnaround. Bye.